Hello everybody. In this difficult time when we are suffering from COVID-19 globally, we see we are having a lot of complications in patients who had severe COVID-19 illness. And we will discuss in brief about how to prevent these complications. But before that, it is very important to know the normal physiology of our respiratory system and nose. We all know that respiratory, the alveoli, the mucous lining, the lining of the alveoli, the type 2 pneumatocytes, they are very sensitive to drying and temperature, extremes of temperature. Our nose has got a very important function of air conditioning. The nose, it is presenting the inhaled air to the lungs with an optimum temperature and optimum moisture level. Just imagine in 0.4 seconds, the air which is either minus 15 degrees in Canada or in India in summer month, 48 degree, the hot air, we are breathing. In 0.4 seconds, the nose, the air conditioners of our nose brings this to 37 degree and adds moisture to this inhaled air. It's a very good function. Now, one of the most important functions of nose and upper respiratory tract is mucociliary clearance. There is a continuous mucus blanket which is going posteriorly in the nose and we are swallowing it from the nasopharynx. In a similar fashion, the airway, the upper airway, the bronchus, the trachea, it is propelling the mucus, it is coming in the pharynx and then we are swallowing it. It is very important function to maintain the normal health of these two, nose and lungs. In ICUs, we are disturbing this function. Not only in ICUs, even in our OPD chambers, when we are using a split AC, we are just disturbing this normal homeostasis which is maintained by the nasal air conditioners. We are presenting a cold air, number one, a dry air in our system because moisture is sucked and it is thrown out by these split AC and this moisture is going from lungs and nose. There is dryness, there is desiccation and there is damage to the lung mucosa. We all know that. Disaster is the moment we are reducing the moisture level in our nose and airway, the mucociliary clearance, the ciliary beat frequency, it reduces and there is a stasis and there is more of drying, there is more of stasis, there is more of infection. It causes swelling and there is obstruction, nasal obstruction. This is a very vicious circle, especially this happens in patients who are there in ICU for a week or more. And we have got patients who are kept on steroids, who are kept on multiple antibiotics, who are old, who are having improper glycemic control, they are having diabetes mellitus. You can imagine the immunocompromised status which you are looking in ICUs these days. Here, if you are not maintaining this normal nasal physiology, there is disaster. And we are coming across mucormycosis. For last 1 week or 6, 7, 8 days, we are having a lot of cases of mucormycosis. I'm going to show you in the videos how it looks like. Then, one word about prevention in the medical staff. You have got the same normal nasal physiology and physiology of lung. You all know it better than me. Remember, the medical staff which is there in the ICU is more exposed because we are in closed chambers and the split AC, they are rotating that air. It is, the coldness is maintained, but we are not getting a fresh air, number one. Number two, it is just picking out all the moisture from your lungs and it is throwing it out. This is a disaster, both for you and your patients. In very little words, I'll tell you the prevention for you and your patients. You can go for Jal Neti. All of you know what is Jal Neti. Simple ablution. I just put water in my nose 15 times a day. That adds up to that hydration. The gel phase and the sol phase which are there below the mucus blanket, which are propelling the mucous blanket through the mucociliary clearance. Moisture is very important. I am adding moisture by doing this gel neti or nasal ablution. For that matter, an ICU patient who is unconscious or who is on respiratory support, you can just spray his nose with saline. Or if you want more further prevention, you can add a little amount of powder iodine gargle solution, 10% in dose spray. You have got a lot of bottles of spray, then you can just mix it even in the ICU. You can spray it in the nasal cavity or you can use nebulizers. It is very important. And now if you have got some knowledge in your mind regarding the complication, that is mucormycosis in the patient, you will be able to diagnose it at an early stage the moment patient complains of some swelling or some obstruction in the nose. Or you can go for a regular checkup by the ENT surgeons. We can easily detect. The moment you look through the endoscope, you will find this mucormycosis. You can go for an early diagnosis if we're doing the endoscope part. Then if you are suspecting a case, or if it's a case is in immunocompromised state, you can give prophylaxis or you can give therapeutic dose of a spray. If you are using a spray which is having 90% of the saline, 9 to 10% of powder iodine solution, which is dilute, which is very weak, which we are using for gargles. The only problem is we are giving some altered taste sensation to the patient. But if we are adding amphotericin B in this solution, that is 100 to 200 microgram per ml, even up to that matter, we can use 0.5 to 1% solution. That is excellent for a prophylaxis or for the treatment part, because you are spraying that solution which is not causing any harm. You are spraying it at least 10 to 12 times a day, and you are, number one, you are improving the nasal physiology. The mucociliary clearance is there. Then you are preventing infection, and then you are adding something which inhibits the growth of mucormycosis. And it's very simple, very less side effect. We all know the treatment of mucormycosis. Government has issued certain regulations, certain guidelines. We all have those guidelines. We are giving all sort of prevention and treatment to the patients. And in certain cases, if you find that the problem is more, we can even go for recombinant cytokines, or for that matter, granulocyte transfusion or hyperbaric oxygen. These are measures which can be used in selected cases. But remember, prevention is better than cure. You know the mortality rate in mucormycosis in advanced cases where we are forced to do the surgeries, the mortality is nearly 44%. So always try to go for prophylaxis, prevention. Thank you.